One of the largest government-sponsored industrial espionage thefts of copyrights, trade secrets, and patents in modern time was the theft of scalable social networking inventions. The technology and programming code that underlie Facebook, Gmail, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and most of the other large-scale social networking companies runs on Leader Technologies' intellectual property. They were stolen by a group of criminal lawyers, judges, spies, and bankers working with complete impunity and in total disregard for the law. Under the guise of IBM Eclipse Foundation, James Chandler III, who was also a national security advisor and top White House attorney, led this group of criminals who, interestingly enough, are also appearing in the news currently due to their most recent discovered crimes. People you know: John Podesta, Robert Mueller, Rod Rosenstein, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and a host of others who are not so well known. Usually, we see them stealing oil, gold, uranium, but this time they stole the very software code that is utilized by the largest tech companies in America, Europe, Russia, China, and anywhere else they can market it. They make trillions off of this theft. And a host of fake tech lords became the frontmen for all the various social networks we see cropping up everywhere. Google, Facebook, Amazon. The criminals got filthy rich off of stealing Leader Technologies' inventions. What did Leader Technology get? 17 years of lies, deceit, legal maneuvering, patent tricks, industrial espionage, betrayal, governmental manipulation, court fraud, and $10 million in legal bills, as well as 7 separate lawsuits brought against Leader Technology itself to try to bankrupt them. Michael McKibben is the founder and chief inventor of Leader Technologies and the person responsible for the biggest explosion of internet technology in history. So Michael, welcome to the American Intelligence Media. We are so thrilled that you've joined us and you're willing to have this conversation with us.
Great to be here.
After the framing, let me just ask a question. Had you ever done anything like this before, and did you do it by yourself or did you have help?
I have invented things before. I have created a lot of different products. Started developing software back in the early 80s and then began looking at the market as computers were beginning to become more commercial and developed a number of different products. And it was during that time that we met folks from AT&T, and by the 93, 94 timeframe, actually secured the contract to rebuild AT&T's email system. So by the mid-90s, we were on the map having rebuilt AT&T's email system that was actually shipped with Windows 95. So done a lot of work in management consulting, leadership development, organizational development, and then morphed all that knowledge and experience into developing software. And it was during the time with the AT&T project that I really began seeing the big problem, the collaboration problem that was stymieing most of the technology world in how to make their collaboration products scalable. I actually put together a team of people with expertise in telecommunications, in databases, in operating systems, in network systems, and we basically recognized that we needed to figure out what was wrong with collaboration in a large-scale environment. And it took 2.5 to 3 years to figure out what the problem was. So it was a very complex problem.
Let's go back a little bit and ask this question. Exactly what is the specific nature of what you and your team invented, and what was new about it? What is that big step that you and your team took?
We essentially had to say, okay, the paradigm of storing a file in a folder is not the way to manage data in the internet. We had to change our whole thinking about how to store data when lots of people are working with a piece of information in lots of locations. The problem you have with the internet is, since you don't know how much volume you're going to have to handle at any given time, you've got to have a storage situation that can ebb and flow with the way people are using information. We had to figure out a way to put the data out there and not care where it's stored. An analogy that I think works is that it's like taking a bunch of cups and hooking them together with little rubber hoses between the cups. And as you pour water into any one cup, it all flows out. So it's the level in all of the hard drives, or in this case the cups, always is the same in all the drives. So as the water starts filling up, you as the technologist who's supporting that environment can easily say, okay, we better get a couple more cups in here, we better get a couple more hard drives on this system because it's starting to fill up. And then as soon as you do that, the level will go back down. And so that's the way the internet is storing the data, and that came from this magic aha moment that we had.
And the magic code writing that happened afterwards.
Yeah, how to do that, yes, was
How
a
to
major
tag
effort.
metadata and then send it in all directions and then somehow call it all back when you want. To me, that sounds magical.
We had to invent a new kind of metadata. When you have a file, and let's say you've got this group of 10 people and one person changes the file, Groupware will then replicate the changed file in everyone's individual environments. And that's very time consuming and resource intensive. So what we said was, let's think about this differently. Let's have the file sitting in one place and never moving. And then let all the people come to the file and edit it and do everything they want. And so we'll keep track of all of that. And so what is stored is the metadata associated with the file, but the file never moves. And by doing that, we increase the capacity and the efficiency of how collaboration works by a factor of probably 10,000.
Everyone uses your source code. Everyone. When we say social networking, it's not only social networking, it's what I would imagine called scalability, to go from a small group handling 100 people to handling 1 billion people in one group. This was radical. They knew that if they could do this, that these groups would become worldwide. Many of the different programs out there that we use every day, we take full advantage of, and we have no idea that that source code came from you. I know that you said that you can look into Facebook and you can say, here's our source code. So
right.
You know that Facebook
got essentially anything that's got a login today on the internet starts to infringe our patents.
That's everything. That's
so,
every single governmental system, every single commerce system, everything, every bank, everything.
It appears that way. You can tell by the way it works that it's using the patents.
What's that called? Is there a technical name for
well,
what you guys came up with?
There's several elements to the way that has to happen. There's a storage element, there's an interface element, and then there's a processing element. So there's kind of 3 layers of the way the code works.
And then that's what is the foundation of the fact that your source code could then be used in Facebook, in Gmail, in YouTube, in Twitter, in Instagram, in Snapchat, in all these different systems. All is based upon your code, because you wouldn't be able to get in, create the network, create the virtual sandbox, have all the interaction, have the metadata being tagged properly, and then, as you say, define it specifically for the need, as we've seen
right.
it, whether it was PayPal or no matter what it
right.
was.
That was the old paradigm, design it to the need. In our case, our application was human collaboration. And you can't predict how human beings want to collaborate in advance if your system is in fact doing its job. I wanted to solve an engineering problem. Normally, products are designed by saying, okay, I want to build that chair and I already know it's going to have 2 arms on it and a back on it and a seat on it. And so, oh, that's a great chair. We didn't know what this is supposed to look like. So we said, let's not preconceive a solution, because all we're going to do as programmers, we're just going to program more stuff. And we attacked the problem from the standpoint of, we don't know what this product is supposed to look like, but we all have experience of what it shouldn't look like. So
that's very funny.
We actually said, what isn't it supposed to be? And so we had to fill the whole board with things it's not going to be. And we did that for probably 2 years. As we put that up on the board, what started taking shape was this empty spot that became social networking. It emerged. It told us what it wanted to be. And that was exciting.
Did it tell you it needed to be scalable to about infinity? Because that's
well,
what
we
you've
knew
done.
that. That's what we were designing for.
Did you have any idea when you and your team discovered this, how big this would be and how it would actually change everything in our modern world?
We did. We did. We knew we were onto something special. When we had that aha moment, we knew this was going to be big. We knew, well, the internet's huge, so we've got to be able to stay up with it. I think this is why the military-industrial complex wanted to steal it so badly.
And some of these things you've only realized within the last few months.
Exactly.
The fraud, the deception, the stacked court systems, the subterfuge, how far it went, who was behind it, the
Right. We
secret
had
groups that
no
were behind
idea
it.
of any of that.
You know, Betsy and I came across a site that your supporters create called the Americans for Innovation site. 530 pages of indictable information on the crooks who stole your invention. And when you read it, you see the very criminals in our own time. You can see their modus operandi. You can see the way they work. You can see the laws that were created. You can see the patent laws that were manipulated. You can see all of this by reading what you and your shareholders and your supporters have put out, and it is one of the most amazing things. So make sure that you go to Americans for Innovation, because Michael and Leader Technology kept records on every single speck of this. If you want the details down to the letters of agreement, everything, the copyrights that were stolen, the proof of concept, again, you had to prove it again and again to these people because they were stealing it as they went along.
Right.
So
it was being stolen off of our engineering design boards before the ink was even dry.
it's one of the most incredible stories, because when you look at the damages, you're talking trillions of dollars. Michael, your story is incredible. We're going to continue with these conversations, and in the future conversations, we're going to see where it is that you're going, and we are just so thrilled that you willingly had us come down and meet with you in the Leader Technology Group. So thank you so much for the conversation.